What's up everybody, another beautiful day in the Dragonflight, and today we're taking a look at Temple of the Jade Serpent as an enhancement shaman. Now the build I'm running here is the Elementalist build, and I have a guide out for this build as well, linked in the descriptions below. So at the start of the dungeon, good old Windrush. First pull, I try to flame shock the water speaker, then I pop my wolfies into primordial wave lava lash on another mob into lightning bolt slap, ice strike, frost shock, and possibly sundering if there's a cast I can interrupt with it. Now you can combine this burst with ancestral guidance if you're doing a big pull with water elementals and tons of droplets, since the party's taking a ton of AoE damage during that. Now make sure the water speaker's tidal burst and hydro lands is interrupted, stun, incap, knock him up, and you can line of sight the big water elementals Tainted Ripple, something I need to practice a bit myself, but it does make a world of difference since you won't get that nasty dot on you. Now for the rest of the mobs up to first boss, it's pretty much the same. Get primordial wave on cooldown fast, interrupt tidal burst and hydro lands. The last pack has 2 of these, and you can often interrupt both with thunderstorm and sundering, so keep an eye open for that. And depending on how your tank tanks him, you can line of sight the elemental's tidal ripple here as well. Now for the first boss, there's really not any big brain tech. Make sure to help out with interrupting hydrolands. If you get the corrupting gazer debuff, you just need to step out a ring, if you will, and drop it. Just keep an eye on the knock up burst of water before you move over. And the same is true during wash away. Check where the boss turns to cast this, then run to the opposite side. Keep tracking the waters, and as soon as a knock up burst of water is done, run over, keep running. And since we can just smack boss while running, you just want to run ahead, so just focus on putting a lot of distance between you and the beam, and avoid getting splashed in the bum as you run over.
Frankly, that's a skill issue.
Now onwards to the second boss. Next pull, most groups I've done this with just press W here, but some skip the first 2 panda mobs and one of the Shaws. Now assuming you do pull everything, wait until the Shaw and pandas are stacked, primordial wave spread into lightning bolt slap, focus down one of the pandas and make sure the Shaw's haunting scream is interrupted, and also be very mindful of their dot. It hurts a ton, so pop astral shift, a consumable, or heal yourself if needed, unless you get dispelled fast, or if you don't get dispelled fast. Now the next pack is usually a fear Shaw, 5 small Shaws and a fishy. Interrupt the fishy's sleep and Shaw's haunting scream, stun totem, thunder shock, etc. If primordial wave is ready, make sure to get 6 amounts of lightning bolts and slap the fishy. Now for the birdie on the bridge, just make sure you run as soon as the AoE circle spawns, and slap away. You can try building up a bit of maelstrom before the circle spawns. You have instant casts as you run out, which you can follow up with frost shocks and flame shock before running back in, and you can even hard cast things like elemental blast or lightning bolt chain lightning while you're AFKing outside of the circle. Now for the last pack before boss, the beetle, hosen, and tiger pack. Stun, incap, thunderstorm to keep him in check, interrupt fit of rage. You can let him cast it and they won't spawn swirlies, but they do more damage. You want to keep the beetle from casting barrier and slap away. Don't worry about using primordial wave here. You should use it. It will be up for boss with the RP. Now for the second boss, on pull you want to wolfies, flame shock one of them and primordial wave the other one so that you get some extra boss damage from the haste plus pad. And you can sneak in a lava lash on the one you aren't nuking at the moment to debuff it with lashing flames. But other than that, just focus DPSing down whichever you're currently nuking so you don't mess up their stacks. But 1 lava lash is fine. Now enhancement can dish out a ton of damage on this fight, especially with the superiority buff, and you can combine ancestral guidance with that when you have the buff up to help heal the group a ton. Now following this, onward to the third boss. Now we take the big Shaw with the Mistweaver and the Guardian here. You want to be fast with interrupting Defiling Mist and use incaps Thundershock to interrupt the Guardian's leg sweep. You don't want to get hit by the big Shaw's frontal, and I usually hold Primordial Wave until the Shaw spawns its small adds, so that I can get 6 Flame Shock targets for lightning bolts instead of 3. Think of the pad! Because 60% haste into the big Shaw is almost better than the first 5 seconds of a fresh, juicy fruit chewing gum. Now you can also pop Stun Totem when the small adds spawn to keep him from smacking the tank, ancestral guidance if needed, or as the small adds are dying to top the party. Now for the boss room, pulls depend on your tank and the patrol's current route. So the combination of packs and whatever order you pull it in is largely depending on your tank. We usually do a few double pulls here, But regardless of how you pull it, if there's a Mistweaver, you want to make sure to interrupt defiling mist or someone will die. And you want to stun in-cap Thundershock leg sweep if there's a Guardian, especially if you're a melee heavy party. Also want to make sure to always interrupt Haunting Scream if there's a Haunting Shaw. And when the big Shaw is pulled, again hold Primordial Wave for when the small adds spawn. You can also use Sundering Thundershock to interrupt the minion of Doubt's Dark Claw, and your tank will be a little happier. I mean, a bit. They're always salty. But yeah, we have tons of AoE control for most of the mobs, so just be liberal with them. Now for the boss, not a whole lot of enhancement specific stuff. Pop everything on pull, Feral Spirits into Primordial Wave, Lightning Bolt, Ice Strike, Storm Strike, Frost Shock, Elemental Blast. And then you want to try and save up some Maelstrom before these Serpent kick Ring of Fires around the boss, so you can throw a Spender and Frost Shock while you're dodging them. I recommend running out early to give you more time to locate where the fire waves are going. Minimizes the amount of panic you have when you're like, oh my god, where are they? Then we have the last trash packs, onwards to the last boss. Again, a room of lovely mobs that we have a lot of control for. And again, you want to make sure Defiling Mist and Tidal Burst gets interrupted. Leg Sweep has a lower prior here as you can just dodge it. So it's much more important that you use stuns, in-caps, etc. if you need them to interrupt Defiling Mist and Tidal Burst, as well as Hydrolands, and try to interrupt multiple casts at the same time with your Thundershock and Sundering. Now the next pack instead has 2 Guardians, so here you want to try to interrupt 2 leg sweeps with your Sundering or Thunderstorm if possible. It doesn't always line up that way. Now the double Water Speaker plus Mistweaver pack is a bit rough, and you need to interrupt 2 Tidal Bursts and 1 Defiling Mist all the time. So again, there's insane value from Stun Totem, Sundering, and Thundershock if you can interrupt multiple casts at the same time. And Ancestral Guidance is great if a cast goes off, otherwise save it for the very last pull. This spicy pull, tanks love it. Pop Wolfie, set up Primordial Wave, spread Flame Shock, Lightning Bolt, and focus down one of the minions of Doubt, at least if you're playing higher keys or fortified keys. And you want to interrupt as many Dark Claws as possible with your crowd controls and interrupt Haunting Scream. Your next Primordial Wave should be used when their small adds up from the big one, and you can combine that with Ancestral Guidance to help out. And on to the last boss. You want to hold Primordial Wave on pull so that you have it for the first adds, but you can pop your Wolfies. Now if you're lucky, they'll be back for the adds. If not, ah well. So when the adds are about to spawn, if you want to min-max, make sure you Ice Strike and spend at least 10 Maelstroms so that you have a fully empowered Frost Shock ready. 10 stacks of Hailstorm plus Ice Strike buff, and as soon as they spawn, you just Frost Shock slap them. Instant value. You follow this with Primordial Wave, Lava Lash, Lightning Bolt, Sundering, and another Frost Shock, or Ice Strike into Frost Shock depending if its cooldown is back, and usually they've melted by that time. But that's how you maximize damage on it, so you open up with an empowered Frost Shock into all your Primordial Wave stuff, and they'll just melt. You can also combine this with Ancestral Guidance, Stun Totems, and things like that to keep them in check. And you will need to hold Primordial Wave for every add phase. They do not line up, and well, there's no value popping Primordial Wave on boss compared to adds. I get 1 Lightning Bolt or I get 5. So yeah, make sure to save it for adds. And if you get the dot from the boss, be ready to heal yourself, especially if you don't get dispelled. Instant healing surges, spend your Maelstrom on it if needed, health stone, health pot. I even sometimes throw down a fancy healing stream totem. The dot really hurts, especially on Tyrannical. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this enhancement dungeon guide. Now for my UI, I will link my default UI code that you can import in-game in edit mode, as well as most of the main Weakauras I use for enhancement. I can't share all of my Weakauras like the dungeon Weakauras or my Plater or detail settings, as I've gotten them from subbing to now on Twitch, so I'm not gonna give out his work without his say so. But yeah, let me know what you think of this dungeon guide. Would you like more stuff like this? And if you have any questions, hit me up here or become a patron or Twitch sub and get access to the Stanky Gaming Discord, which is the fastest way to get a hold of me, and it's also filled with a lot of useful info and helpful people. Don't forget the usual stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, ring that notification bell. Gotta best that YouTube algo. Now I'm also streaming all my progression rating on Twitch, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.